And we've been joined by Coach Tony Levine from Houston. The Cougars are 4-3 overall, 2-1 in the American Athletic Conference. Houston was in action this past Friday against Temple, and Houston won the game 31-10. Houston has an open week this week. Next game will be November 1st at USF. Coach, thanks for joining us on the call today. If you could take a minute to tie up the win against Temple, maybe a word or two about Stephen Taylor, the conference defensive player of the week, and then your plans for the bye week as you get ready for the game against USF, please.
Well, very proud of our defense, and certainly Stephen Taylor. It's a great award and very well deserved. He's a young man that was lightly recruited as a junior and really had a great senior year in high school up in the Dallas area, and is really redshirted 2 years ago and is becoming a very consistent young man for us on the field. So it was good to see him recognized for his performance Friday night. Going into the game, the two things we talked about that we felt like we had to do to win, I felt like we did. One was win the turnover battle. Defensively, created 4 turnovers, and one by Trayvon Stewart for a touchdown, and offensively did not turn the football over against a defense that in many categories is up near the top of the country, and was very good. Temple is taking the football away. So proud of our offense for having great ball security. And then secondly, it was the field position. And I thought our special teams, for the most part, played well and gave our offense and defense good field position throughout the game. So, I thought we had some other outstanding individual efforts. And the one I will mention was Greg Ward. Completed, I think, 29 of 33, which is 88%, 268 yards and 2 touchdowns. And again, I thought made some plays on the ground, running the football with some designed runs, and at times pulled it down when they were pass plays and scrambled and got us positive yards. So again, a good team win. And I think now the bye week comes at a good time. We got to get some guys that are banged up, healthy, and again for the going on the road next week against a very talented South Florida team.
Any questions for Coach Tony Levine, please? *1 on your telephone. The operator will introduce you.
And we have Dan Tortora with Dan Tortora Broadcast Media.
Hi, Coach. How are you doing today?
Great, Dan. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. Obviously, Temple had scored almost 40 points each of their first 2 conference games. Your defense holds them to 10. What did you see out of your defense and how they were able to handle some things from Temple that other teams struggled with?
Well, a couple things, and I give Temple a lot of credit. Coming into our game, they had hit quite a few. Saying explosive plays or big plays really doesn't do justice. They were getting 50, 60, 70-yard plays. Really in all the games leading up to ours, and still got a couple against us, which had been uncharacteristic of what we had done defensively. One of our goals going into every game is to not give up explosive plays, and we did that. And I can certainly credit Temple for their scheme and their calls at the right time and getting them in the hands of their explosive playmakers. But I think defensively it was a little bit unique, and this was the first game we entered without really the nation's career leader in tackles, Derek Matthews, who was out for the season, and then our starting corner/safety, Lee Hightower. So we had some young men step up, and I thought we tackled extremely well. Again, I thought the turnovers were certainly critical in the game. And I thought, for the most part, we did a good job against their running game. So, we were able, I thought, to get them in some down and distances where we felt like they were a little bit more favorable to us defensively. And, weren't on the field much. Part of that, I've been here in our program, Dan, 7 years, and in my 7 years here overall, as both an assistant as a head coach, I don't think we've ever had a time of possession offensively at 43 minutes. So, I think if you can keep your offense on the field 43 minutes and allow your defense to be on the field 17, you have a chance to keep that side of the ball fresh. And I think the combination of what I just mentioned, taking the football away, tackling extremely well, and being effective against the run, all played a big part of what we did defensively.
And then I know you brought up your quarterback, Ward, and just what you've seen from him, not only in the last 2 games, but in his growth overall, how he's progressed and really started to become a leader for you, even more so.
Well, I think, and again, that's an outstanding Temple defense. So, I mentioned this the last 2 weeks or so. I mean, Greg Ward last spring was a full-time receiver. This past summer was a full-time receiver. When training camp started in August, he joined the quarterback meetings, but still had a limited role at quarterback until 2 weeks ago. So the more he plays, the more comfortable he's going to become. And I think that he definitely took a major step from game 1 to game 2 for him in terms of a starting quarterback. I mean, 29 of 33. I've also been here, talking about 7 years. I hadn't seen many quarterbacks in my 20-year career complete 88% of their passes in a game. Certainly not against a defense like Temple's at the top 20 defense. In a top, I think, 5 defense in passing efficiency defense. So, the more he plays, the more comfortable he's going to get, the more comfortable his 10 teammates around him on the field are becoming. Yeah, I think he's making great decisions in terms of when to throw the ball, who to throw it to, when to tuck it and run. I think his ball security was very good in this last game. And when you talk about leadership, some people are born with those type of leadership skills and abilities. And I think Greg Ward is someone that fits that mold.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Dan.
And we'll hear from Joseph Durate with Houston Chronicle.
Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Joseph.
I had a kind of a recruiting question for you. With some high schools still running option-based offenses, are those kids still recruitable, or in terms of how the offenses have developed on the college game, and you don't see as many of those, whether it's I think some schools still run the veer or the wishbone or the wing tee. How does that affect your thinking with recruiting those kind of players that come out of those offenses?
Well, as you're asking me that question, I'm actually picturing Adrian McDonald's high school video. That's what AMAC was. He was a high school quarterback that ran the football, ran the option, and one of the toughest things, in my opinion at least, that you have to do as a college football coach is evaluate. And oftentimes you've got to take young men that are at different positions and project what they could be in your program. Howard Wilson is a true freshman corner that's playing quite a bit for us. Had his second interception of the season against Temple Friday night, and at DeSoto High School up in Dallas, he was an outside linebacker, and we just evaluated him and projected him to be a corner, and I think he's going to be a very successful one. So, if you're asking me, is a quarterback at a high school that runs the veer or the triple option going to be recruited to play quarterback in our program, I'd say that's a little bit more challenging. But when you look at, a lot of high school programs, coaches have a philosophy of they're going to take their best player and let him touch the ball on every down and put him at the quarterback position, and then kind of tailor the offense around him and his skill set. So as you keep that in mind, I think you're able to find Adrian McDonald's that, while they might be high school quarterbacks in their high school system, you can project them to possibly be a defensive back or a receiver or a running back in your program.
Lastly, I know it's early in the week. Any update on Trayvon right now?
Not as much of an update yet. I think at this point I'm encouraged moving forward that he won't miss any games. But in terms of where he's at right now, I'm going to say day to day, and I'll know more in the next 48 hours.
Okay. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Joseph.
And do we have any other questions for Coach Levine, please? Coach, well, thank you for your time this week. Look forward to talking to you again next Monday.
Likewise. Thank you.